It's monkey time, gamers. Welcome to the Two Penny Games cast, the review of Black Myth Wukong. We've been playing it. Me less so than you. But
who am I?
You? But you're Tavin.
No, I'm not.
When you first started up this show, you're introduced as Tavin. You're in Tavin's spot. So you're Tavin.
But I'm not Tavin. Tavin didn't play this game.
You're
He's
right.
Off camera. He's
fair enough.
Hell no, I didn't play that shit.
He's the set bitch.
He's the set bitch. And he's also the bitch who couldn't even play this game if he wanted to. Because it's for real gamers.
Hang on. You can't even hate on Tavin. You just started playing this game like a week ago.
No. Last night.
Last night?
I had other obligations, you know. The other obligation.
Okay. Wait. But I swear you texted me.
Oh, I did.
Like a week ago.
Yeah, I bought it a week ago.
Oh, okay, so you bought it a week ago,
and
you just started.
And I was like, I'm going to play the other game that we're reviewing. And the review should be out by now. For Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, for the Two Penny Game Club.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Phil, by the way. He never fucking introduced me.
Admittedly, I was going to after the bit, and then it got sidetracked, and then it was, a whole
Anyway,
thing.
yeah, I've been playing Black Myth Wukong. I wore this shirt not even not on purpose of realizing we're doing the Black Myth Wukong review, and it's a fucking Donkey Kong shirt.
I don't believe him. He's racist.
Actually, that's an ape, not a monkey.
Oh, you're right. Wukong does have a tail.
So technically, you're not doing anything like subtle. Tavin can still be the set bitch and shut up.
I do have banana shorts on.
Yeah.
Camera.
One of those things had to be played. Subconsciously.
Honestly, neither. I was like, yeah, I think, I haven't worn this fit in a minute, and I didn't even think about what we were doing today when I put it on. It's just funny that's how it turned out.
Hey, if that's the story you want to go with, we'll go with it. It's
the truth, so yeah, I'm gonna go with the truth.
That's right, Phil. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So I've been playing some Black Myth Wukong. I like this game. Black Myth Wukong is a good game. It didn't vibe with me in the beginning. It definitely took some time to kind of grow on me. I think a lot of it was just me kind of banging my head against the wall and not really I didn't do enough exploration before. I was kind of in some of the people that try to fight the in Elden Ring, they try to fight the tree sentinel as soon as they leave. That was me. That was me in the beginning. I refused to engage with anything else other than what was right in front of me. And I was like, fuck, what's going on here? And so I didn't really like it. One thing that I'm also gonna talk about, I'm not a huge fan of, is there's not a dedicated parry. It's all dodging, which I'm more of a dodger anyway, which is kind of why I think eventually this game kind of grew on me more. But not having the option to parry kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But later on in Chapter 2, you do get one of your magic abilities, which is essentially a parry.
Iron skin or
it's like a stone skin or something like that. You turn it into stone for a second, and then someone will hit you, and then their weapon will bounce off.
Yeah, I remember that was playing in the opening segment. That was one of the abilities you had access to, unless it's something completely different. Recall?
I don't remember exactly what it's like. Some stone skin or something.
Yeah,
like
it's probably
it's something like that.
I can't believe there'd be another thing similar.
The only thing I know by name is the immobilize spell, which that's really the only thing. But those are really that, and some visual things. You and Tavin had asked a couple times before if I had experienced some visual things. I didn't at the time you'd asked, but now in this one segment that I've been stuck on, I haven't beaten the Yellow Wind Sage. I don't know why they decided to put the hardest boss at the end of Chapter 2 out of 6.
They kind of did something similar with Armored Core Fires of Rubicon.
Oh yeah, with Balteus.
Yes.
Right? But anyway, like I said, there's some visual fuckery going on with the Yellow Wind Sage. I would lose to him, and so when I would come back, I don't know if you've ever seen in games that have these kinds of visual bugs where kind of the stuff around them or parts of them will kind of spider web off and would do a bunch of weird shit. That was happening almost every time I would go back to try to fight him. Every time I would come around this corner down this little slope of sand, and I would see him, and it's just all this fucking spider web shit coming off of him, and I was like, that doesn't seem intentional.
Probably makes it even harder too. Fight that boss.
Well, no, because it doesn't happen during the boss. It's just during. I guess it's while they're loading him in, ready for you to fight him. That's really the only like visual stuff I've had. Sure, I've had a couple like frame skips here and there, but nothing huge, nothing like game breaking really. A lot of people have talked about like crashes and stuff. I haven't had anything crash. I'm playing on PS5. That hasn't happened for me. But visually, this game, other than like some of the bugs I've had, is kind of, in a word, stunning. You know, it looks fucking fantastic. That whole opening sequence that you were talking about earlier, where you're on the Nimbus cloud going through, weaving through all these trees, and you land on this big cloud with all these like kind of elder gods or whatever, and you got Erlong Shen coming down, and he's got. What's funny, I knew it was Erlong Shen not because I'm familiar with Journey to the West, but because I played Smite.
And in that story, is he the priest, or is he the?
I don't know.
They wouldn't be the priest.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I just think him and Sun Wukong have some kind of rivalry.
Clearly, yeah.
That's my takeaway from it. I'm not familiar with the story of Journey to the West, so you know, I know that's a huge thing in China where Black Myth was developed by what was the name of this studio?
Game Science?
Game Science. You're right. But yeah, I've really been enjoying this game visually. I think this game is a lot of fun. The hits from your bow staff are super like meaty and satisfying to pull off. I'm a fan of like the stances that you can do in this one too, similar to not like similar in a way you can like switch by like holding different buttons like from Ghost of Tsushima. It's like a D-pad press where like you just switch between what stance you're in, and it only really affects your heavy attack. It doesn't really change your main combos.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Neo off the top of my head, where you just
have
it
attached
attached
Neo?
to the attached to the D-pad, high, mid, low.
Oh, okay. I've never played Neo, so I wouldn't know.
But I mean, like this is far more extensive, or more unique, I should say.
Well, like in Neo, is there like a skill tree system in Neo? No.
Damn. I think it's like the traditional, like FromSoft leveling up system,
where you're just kind of leveling up stats.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I recall.
There's like this very extensive skill tree in Black Myth, but like each little stance has its own skill tree that kind of develops your combos with that stance, or like improves, like maybe if the longer you charge this heavy attack, the stronger it'll be, and it'll like tweak the percentage of damage that it does. Like there's like some little points you can put in that do that. There's some that increase your health, some that increase your stamina, but they're all attached to these like little skill points that you just acquire by leveling up, by killing enemies throughout the world, defeating bosses, finding little meditation points.
Yeah, I was starting to get into those systems, fighting the mini bosses, getting little unlocks.
Yeah, I think this game is just a lot of fun. I have less of an itch to get back to it now that I'm kind of further away from it, because I did kind of take a break from the win stage. I was getting, when you're stuck, you're banging your head up against the boss for a while, and there's nothing really more to explore in like whatever chapter you're in. I've like cleaned out chapter 2. I have like nothing left to do in chapter 2, so it's literally just the yellow win stage. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm over leveled for him necessarily. He's just so fucking hard. I've gotten so close to defeating him like 3 separate times, and I was just getting so tilted just over and over. So I took a break. I finished Banjo-Kazooie, and then I started playing a Kimbot, which I kind of want to talk about when we get to Piggy Bank later, when we in our recording session today. But I do still, the itch is still there to get back to Black Myth. So I'm not completely like done with the game. I do see myself rolling credits on it. And I think a lot of the talk online of people are saying, "Oh man, this is game of the year. It's game of the year. It's so good." Like, it's good, but it's not that good. Like, I haven't played a whole lot of it, but Final Fantasy Rebirth still came out this year.
And that's still I think the best.
For me, it has not taken place of Unicorn Overlord.
Prince of Persia.
Prince of Persia is great. It's in my top 5. But I don't know. I think Black Myth Wukong, I don't know if it's going to crack top 5 for me. But I'm almost definitely going to finish it.
Yeah, we have so many games to play.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be able to finish it. At the rate I'm playing right now, with how much I'm enjoying it, it will probably end up on my top 10 list. Definitely, it seems like the difficulty and the real like meat of combat comes from fighting, at least as far as where I am right now, fighting the bosses as opposed to the regular enemies. You said how the attacks feel really meaty. They do, but it also feels like they're too meaty against regular enemies, and they just get like beat around, and I basically have no issue taking them down so far.
I think that's kind of part of it, because like a lot of the hardest part of it is when you kind of get more of the mobbing enemies, and that's where you kind of have to take advantage of some of the moves you get later. Like, are you only doing smash stance right now, or do you have the?
I have the stand on the pole.
Okay,
yeah,
that's my primary one. That's I think from what I've seen online, people like that one the best.
I see why.
But yeah, that one's really cool. There's a move you get on it later where if you do the heavy attack in the middle of a combo instead of like starting off and like charging it and going higher and higher, you'll like do like a stripper pole spin, and that's really good for like mobbing enemies that come around you. But I don't know. Tell me what you think. This game before. Sorry, I literally just tried to throw it to you, and then I was going to go back to.
But wait,
I forgot. This game is like basically a boss rush. You know, like there's bosses around every single corner. This is probably like a game that has the most like bosses like per square inch in a game that I've seen in a long time, and like kind of a varying quality. Like there's some of them that are just, you know, this is a guy that will slam his head into the floor a few times, and you can make him run into a couple trees and kind of deal with them easily. And then there's a guy that has like a spinny fire poker stick.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and then there's another like bigger golden version of like the guy with the big head, who's slightly harder. But you know, it's. And then I don't know if you fought the snake guy yet.
No, I have not. I fought the last one I fought was Liang Shi. I think it's the boss name, the giant wolf.
Oh, with the spinning fire thing.
No, I fought that one. It was the white wolf, like the actual wolf-like thing.
Okay.
The Yao Guai, the Yao Guai King.
Well, they're all Yao Guais. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the king.
Gotcha.
Or I think it was called the king.
I think you're right. It's Yao Guai King or Chief or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's a fun fight. This game is very flashy.
Yes, it's got sauce, which is very apparent in the opening cinematic. When it teaches you the gameplay mechanics, it obviously holds your hand, but at least shows you like, okay, this is what you're going to get to eventually in terms of spectacle. So I'm really interested to see how they're going to, you know, improve upon that. Which kind of crazy things we're going to see. Throughout my time playing this game, the short time playing it, the game I kept thinking of the most was Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, particularly because, you know, both of them just have so much style, you know, and that really holds a lot of weight with the game as a whole. The thing with Metal Gear Rising, though, is I feel like there's more, at least so far, nuance to the combat, or at least it seems just better made for the game that it is.
In Metal Gear?
Yeah, in Metal Gear Rising. Okay. Compared to Black Myth Wukong.
Gotcha.
A lot of that's just because, as I was saying before, regular enemies I'm kind of sweeping by easily. You did say that you're going to start getting mobs of enemies.
Yeah.
I experienced that happen once, and I dealt with it easily, and I'm assuming it'll kind of also get easier the stronger you get with getting moves like the one you're talking about.
Well, so there was one encounter in particular that, like, in Chapter 2, that like, oh my god, leave me alone, get away from me. And then like I got mobbed a couple times.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes you'll run into like those stronger enemies that will like, you'll defeat them and then you can like absorb their spirit and kind of like it's not like a summon, but it's almost like a transformation kind of deal.
Yeah, 'cause it's the spell, like when you fight the fire, you know, bladed guy.
Well, no, that's a different thing. So there's have you defeated the Wandering White, the guy with the big head?
No, I never did.
No? Okay.
Just went past him.
At some point, when you beat him, like a little purple soul will be there, and you can use your gourd and absorb it. And there's a mechanic where you where you pull both your triggers. I don't know what it would be on PC. I assume
I'm using PS5 controller.
Okay, yeah. So it's you pull both your triggers, and you'll do like a quick move as like a transformation. And when you do the Wandering White, like the thing with the big head, you'll do his like head slam, and it'll like stagger somebody and do a bunch of damage. There's other transformations like that, but like it's just like it'll be a icon on your screen, and then there's like a little bar that charges up. It's like, oh, now you can use it. I haven't found out exactly how all of it works. I don't know if it's just on a timer. I don't know if it has to do with how much like attacking I'm doing, how much damage I'm taking. I don't know if it's like based on if I collect this like I forget what like the currency is called. It's like not focus.
spirit. Will.
Will. That's
Yes,
what it's
yeah.
called. I don't know if it has to do with like collecting will. There's a lot of elements of this game that I don't still fully grasp. But I want to know more. I want to learn more about
Same.
how it all works. And that has to do with like kind of like the mana system. Like there's some abilities on this skill tree where it's like, hey, if you do this, you'll get like a quick like replenish to your mana. And I don't know if that's the only way to do it, other than like resting at like essentially the bonfire thing, which it's like the incense. Like what do they call it?
Shrines.
Shrine. That's
Yeah.
what it is. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. But you know, you got your immobilize spell, and there's another one you'll get in chapter 2, which I am like, I've been experimenting more and more with, and it's the pluck of many, where like you take one of your hairs and then you'll like duplicate you like a shadow clone jutsu from Naruto, essentially.
Which is where this idea comes from. Sun Wukong.
Sun Wukong.
Sun Wukong.
It's awesome to like see all of these elements that I've seen in other properties that were like, oh yeah, this came from Journey of the West. This is where this all came from. Which, you know, I had heard of Journey of the West before. Like I knew of it. I knew that was Sun Wukong's story and like his whole deal, but I didn't know like the details of it or like some of the elements that were then co-opted to other to other like media that I've seen.
Yeah,
and I think it's really cool to like go back and see where all this stuff comes from.
It is, and that's kind of leads into one of the other cool things that I want to experiment with more or look into more, which is all of the lore stuff it gives you. But it's not like lore as in, oh, this is the thing we created for the game. It's clearly based off of Chinese mythology. And so it's not something that I really have a lot of knowledge about. And talking to a friend of the show, Jordan, who didn't know anything about Sun Wukong either. Okay. So a lot of that stuff's just kind of,
Going into this, all I knew about Sun Wukong is that's where Goku from Dragon Ball Z got his name. That's also in whatever I played from Smite. Yeah, and that's like Sun Wukong can like transform. Yeah. He's got the big stick. You know, he's a monkey man, and
all the important details, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but even, like to your point, very surface level knowledge of things, and it really, I mean, it's probably one of the most comprehensive, just like lore or history codexes that I've seen in a while, because I opened up the boss that I'd fought in Liang Ji, I believe.
The big wolf?
Yeah, the big wolf. And it was just like long list, expanded, long list of words. And makes me want to read it, but I was just focused on going to other parts of the game to talk about it for the review.
I haven't like dove into that whole codex, really. I do it just to like clear out the little exclamation point that pops up on it. But apparently, like I saw online, some people were like, I guess some of the translation hasn't finished or something like that. They haven't updated and translated everything yet into English, so a lot of it is still in Chinese, which I think is interesting.
It's funny.
So I don't know Chinese.
No, neither do I.
But you're playing the game in Chinese, I assume, with subtitles on.
Yes, and I mean, like,
I'm playing in English with subtitles on.
Which I've heard, whenever I saw clips of it online or on YouTube, because I just decided to click on some, it was always in English. The Chinese voice acting, good. My knowledge is, I'm not super familiar with Chinese, acting or voice acting in general.
Some of the English voice acting is a little cringy,
and I knew that going in, so I was like, you know what? It's clearly one of those games made with the Chinese audience in mind. You can especially see that with how many players from China are playing this game, and it's built around Chinese mythology. So I thought that it'd be more tailor-made for that kind of language rather than, I mean, like you said, they don't even have everything translated apparently, which probably shows you the level of localization at play here.
Right.
So, I think I've so far benefited from playing it in Chinese.
I think the majority of the cringe factor came from that opening cutscene.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in terms of some of the delivery that, or like kind of the voice that the actor was going for with Sun Wukong was a little weird.
Wacky, I'm guessing.
A little wacky.
And I can totally imagine that, because every single time I've seen him depicted in media, he always has kind of like that Goku voice, which maybe it comes from there as well, where it's like higher pitched, but very mischievous sounding, or comical sounding.
I get you.
And so it seems like he probably tried to copy that, because it's a very specific type of voice that may not translate the same.
In Smite, Sun Wukong is still voiced by Sean Schemmel, but it's like a different take.
Yeah.
It's like he's doing more of like a gravelly kind of like thing, but you can still tell it's Sean Schemmel, so it's still Goku. But it's more of like a Sun Wukong, like something like that. he's going for.
You know, I'm really excited to, jump more into this game. It feels like it's, based off the Souls games, which is I see a lot of comparisons of, obviously.
It is, but like it's very loose in terms of like being based on Souls because you don't lose anything from dying. Like there's no like the only thing that's similar in that way is that it's an action game where it respawns the enemies after you like rest. Essentially, that's really where and like it's got difficult bosses. That's really where the comparison ends. At least in my book.
No, you're right. It plays more like an action adventure game rather than a Souls-like game, which obviously it's not the same. A Souls-like game isn't on the same level of a genre as like action adventure. But at least like with Lies of P, for example, it feels like a FromSoft type game. Whereas this one, it seems like it was kind of marketed as such, but the gameplay functions don't really make it one.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember it being marketed that way, but I do remember before I found out that it wasn't. I did think that it was going to be like Monkey Souls, essentially.
Yeah, and it, like I said, it was really just how it was talked about rather than how it actually functioned. And so now that we actually got hands on the game, it's not as comparable to one as I thought.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm high on it so far.
Nice,
that's good to hear. More.
Yeah, I'm relatively high on it. It's not the most amazing thing I've ever played. But it's a good time. So I mean, if you're curious about it and you like action games, I'd say give it a shot.
Yeah. I will say one last thing. So far, the level design seems kind of bland or straight. Like you said, it was a boss rush kind of, and it seems like it's kind of built that way. Where I would go one path thinking it's going to this new interesting area, which I'm especially in that mindset for because of Elden Ring. But then it just loops me back to the path. If I'd gone the other way, it would have ended there the same.
It's also it's frustrating that this game doesn't have a map.
I clicked on it instinctually because I felt like it should have one.
Yeah, it's just one of those games where, especially because like it's very full of invisible walls.
Yes, that's the big thing. Yeah.
So like you would expect like because it's not clear where the path ends and where the invisible wall begins. So I'm kind of wanting that map. To where I can actually see, hey, what's all real? What all can I like actually go to?
Yeah, just once again compare this element to Souls games where they don't have a map. Those ones seem to have been made with basically anything you see you can go to, and there's not really a need for a map.
Well, I mean, they
required.
They have one in Elden Ring.
Yeah, in Elden Ring. I was more like I'm thinking of other Souls games,
right?
Because it's built more like those ones rather than an open world.
But I
game.
just mean like it's got similar. It seems like it wants a similar exploration type, at least visually.
Yes,
it wants a similar exploration to Elden Ring, but then it hits you with all these invisible walls. So, yeah.
It's just kind of like, okay, I guess I'm going the way that it wants me to go.
Yeah,
and I knew that going in, so I was prepared for that.
Yeah, not me. I didn't know. I was like, oh man, no map, and I'm running into a bunch of invisible walls. That's no fun.
Oh well, not the worst caveat.
Not the worst, but yeah, if like I said. I don't know. I think this game is worth the price tag. I'm not gonna begrudge you for waiting for a sale.
But that's actually the other thing because I had talked to Tavin and I was like, well, I don't want to pay $70 for a game, but I'm gonna have to pay $70 for a game because I want to play it and get the context for it. And then I go to purchase it and it's $60, which
it was only 60. It wasn't 70.
Yeah, and I was like, oh damn, okay, because I'm so used to the standard being 70. I was like, well,
you can get like I think on PlayStation you get like the deluxe edition or whatever for $70.
Yeah,
I don't know what all extra content you get for that, but
probably cosmetic stuff or armor.
I imagine something like that. Yeah.
So I was pleasantly surprised by that they're kind of bucked that trend at least for this one game.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, that's our thoughts on Black Myth Wukong. Give it a try if you're a big fan of action adventure games.
Yeah. I was gonna say, or go play Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, but that'd be reductive to
make
this game.
Make some nuggets, slice some some arms and legs off,
and just make a little piece of meat. Yeah, this loser over here. No, play the game if you like action adventure games. I think you'll enjoy it. I'll see if I start getting kind of bored of the game where it starts falling off at some point, but I don't perceive that happening.
I think once I finally beat Yellow Wind Sage and advance past Chapter 2, I'll kind of get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, I mean, when you get those walls and you just kind of sometimes shut down on the game, and you don't want that to influence your opinion on it.
One of those rage gates
that
I like to talk about.
Yeah. Well, you can just summon Mimic Tier.
You can't, though.
No. You can summon multiple clones of yourselves, which is better, technically.
But they're not as good.
They're not.
I wish I had a Mimic tier in this game.
Mhm.
But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to check out the rest of the channel and
Follow us on all the socials. You know,
follow us on all socials.
We're on Twitter. We're on Twitch. We usually stream this. Not all the time though, like today.
Tavin is he's miming like and subscribe. So smash that like button, guys.
You're not supposed to break the
It's not the fourth wall.
third wall then.
Seem like I'm not signaling you to do things.
But-
You could be natural in it.
Guys, smash that like button. Leave a comment. Tell us what you think of Black Myth Wukong. I love you.
I don't.
Bye.
Yeah, I don't.